Shedeur ain't with that. He got to stay focused. He gonna stay back and be ready for when his time comes, because he know it's that close. We almost there. And people just went bananas about
Am I
that.
coming to see you homecoming? Nah, I'm not coming to see you homecoming. I can't make it out there.
My name is...
I wish I could though, but it just can't happen. I got treatment out here. I can't be I gotta get ready. Big ready.
Right. He gotta be ready. He has to be more ready than anybody else. I'm with this chair, man. He has to be more ready than anybody else, because at this moment, he has no more bigger odds against him than anybody in the NFL. People are counting on Shedeur to fail. Shedeur is the most liked and the most hated person in the NFL currently. And he hasn't even touched the field. He hasn't even played a down. But right now, there is no in between when it comes to Shedeur. Either you want to see him play or you don't want to see him play. Either you like what he's done or you don't like what he's done. Either you supporting all the hype or you ain't with the hype. It's too much. You don't want to hear it. You sick of it. And at this point, with Dillon Gabriel playing as horrible as he is, and every NFL personnel, every ex-player, every former player, every current player, everybody saying, what y'all waiting on? And you ain't getting no answers. But now the tables are starting to turn in Cleveland. The reporters are like, hey, okay, we got the Dillon Gabriel experience. We seen what that's all about. We not with that. Can we get something else? We got another quarterback back over there. We have a quarterback that was touted to be one of the best quarterbacks in the draft. So what are we waiting on? But Mary Kay was like,
How long do you think that Dillon Gabriel still has before they would consider going to Shedeur-sanders?
Well, they want to give him a good long time to see what he can do, to come up that learning curve. And it's a twofold process here. It's not just what Dillon can or can't do, but it's how ready is Shedeur. And if Shedeur were ready in 2 or 3 weeks, then I think they would throw him in there. But I think they have to know that he's going to go out there and be able to function, and not just function, but function in this particular offense, an offense that is struggling in so many different ways right now, and you don't want to shatter a rookie quarterback's confidence. So he's got to be able to go out there and protect himself. He can't retreat like he did in college. And this is a point I made in a column that I wrote the other day, and that is, when you've got a quarterback like Drake May, he can absorb 6 sacks in that game and make enough explosive plays, and they can make enough explosive runs to overcome those negative plays. The Browns aren't getting those explosives right now, so you can't put someone out there that is potentially going to get negative plays or, a fair amount of negative plays without knowing that you've got something coming on the other end. So that's part of it. They have to know that he is ready to go out there and that everybody else is ready to support him in the way that he's going to.
see, I understand what Mary Kay is trying to say. Lil Dillon also played in a game where he had 6 sacks. And he had no explosive plays. He had 52 dropbacks in that game, but nothing said explosive. Nothing lit up the screen. Nothing that Dillon Gabriel has done so far under center has given you the mindset that he is a comparable quarterback, a quarterback that is ready to start in the NFL, a quarterback that can lead the Cleveland Browns to anywhere near 6, 7, 8 wins in a season. It hasn't shown that. But what she also said about Shedeur is that they have to feel comfortable that he's not going to take plenty of sacks because of what they saw in Colorado. And just like in Colorado, you have to be able to put him in a position to where he doesn't take that sack. You have to give him an offensive line that is able to protect him where he's not going to be pressured as much as he was in Colorado. They talk about him drifting in the pocket, but that pocket drift and that thing that they have stuck him with is because pressure was always coming. Whether you wanted it or not, pressure was always coming. And in order to get a head start on the pressure, you started moving ahead of time. They talk about him doing all that running around in the pocket and taking those sacks. Yes, those were to make plays, because you have to realize where Shedeur was in college. If he did not make those plays, if he did not do that extra thing to keep the play extended, then he or the team takes an L. Shedeur was the big play quarterback in college. Shedeur was the reason that they were able to win a lot of those games, that they were able to come back even when losing. In a lot of those losses, they weren't blowouts. They were one score games because either they got down by a big margin and Shedeur was able to bring them back, or it was a touchdown scoring match and they just lost because they didn't have the ball in the last possession. They weren't able to score last. See, they talk about all the bad things he did in college, all that drifting in the pocket, all that moving around. But you have to understand that he didn't have the protection, just like he didn't have the protection in that third game of the preseason that caused him to do all that running around and take those 3 sacks. Because literally in that last preseason game, they keep saying 5. He was only sacked literally 3 times in that game. He was only tackled to the ground and lost yards physically 3 times in the game. The other 2 times he ran out of bounds about a half a yard or a yard behind the line of scrimmage. But they'll keep saying those 5 sacks because they're on paper. In that Pittsburgh game, Dillon Gabriel was literally sacked, knocked to the ground 6 times. Wasn't no running out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage, a yard, a half a yard, or any of that. Those were just 6 sacks. But in that Pittsburgh game, or past beyond that game, you haven't heard anybody being detrimental to Dillon Gabriel about those 6 sacks. You don't hear people speak about those 6 sacks. And I'm sick of this chair. I need to get another. I'm saying you don't hear people speak about those 6 sacks in the way that they speak about Shedeur's 5 sacks in the preseason. But the 6 sacks in the season are more relevant because they really, really count. They really actually count toward your production of the year. You know, but that's the only bad thing that people continuously bring up about Shedeur. Is those 5 sacks in that last game, in that preseason, that really didn't count for nothing. But nobody is jumping up and down about those 6 sacks in the real season that counted against Dillon Gabriel. We don't hear about that game. What we hear about that game is that Dillon Gabriel dropped back 52 times. You don't hear that he dropped back 58 times, was sacked 6 times, and didn't complete a lot of passes and only threw for over 220 some yards out of 52 attempts. That's bad. That's horrible. But you rather focus on the 3rd preseason game, but the 1st preseason game, nobody remembers that. Nobody seen that game. That game doesn't count. That game doesn't exist. In that game where he balled out and did the doggone thing and told Andrew Berry, I'm your boy, I'm going to bring you that sauce. You know what I'm saying? You don't hear about that.